person is doing the map. And that person was saying for months that there's no way that Donald Trump can break the blue wall, right? We didn't break it, we shattered that sucker.
The full Donald Trump on display last night in Cincinnati, recounting in great detail, lest anyone forget, exactly how he won the election and how many people were wrong about it along the way. Let's bring back our panel, Alex Burns, Jason Johnson, Dana Bash. I mean, Dana, this was fascinating to see, right? As Alex was saying before the break, I mean, a lot of people were wondering what President-elect on the stump, what President-elect Trump would look like on the stump, and he looked like, frankly, candidate Trump there. And a lot of people were wondering if winning for him isn't just, something he likes to talk about, but a strategy. I mean, it just seems to him be that winning is everything.
Winning is everything, no question. And look, during the entire campaign, one of the reasons why Donald Trump sort of captured attention is not just because of his celebrity, but because we have never seen anything like it. And there's no reason to think that is going to change once he gets to the White House. For lots of reasons. First of all, he's a 70-year-old guy who's done okay in his life, being the way he is, so why would he change? And also, this is the guy that the American people elected. You know, he's the one that they wanted to be in there. And they didn't want the same old kind of buttoned up, talking points kind of person. They wanted this. And you know what? The one thing that I was noting and watching him is that he was having fun. Some of the things that he said were things that I'm sure his advisors did not want him to say. You can see when it was like teleprompter Trump, and then he went off into his own world, and then he went back to teleprompter
Well, what
Trump.
about this moment? I mean, you say that he was having fun, and he talked about that, and in fact, he talked about Hillary Clinton. So I'm interested to hear if you think that this is one that they think he should avoid. Watch this.
Although we did have a lot of fun fighting Hillary, didn't we? Right?
Okay, so basically he ginned up the crowd in the way he did on the campaign trail, and they started chanting, lock her up, and then he gave a sort of fist raise.
Yeah, I think that's,
I mean,
that's different, right?
But is that something that, I mean, to Dana's point, is that something that his advisors are like, okay, enough of that, or they're like, let's go back to that trough?
Look, I think that you see, as in most things related to Trump, there are people around him who feel like, let the man have fun, let him do what the base likes, and there are people who say, I wish he would rein it in a little bit. I think it's more the lock her up chants that get them kind of cringing more than the things that Trump himself literally said. And look, I think if you listen to his words last night and just sort of look at his overall demeanor, you would think this is a guy who won the election by 10 points, right? And he definitely did not. And the evidence that we saw during the campaign is that actually even many voters who ultimately cast their ballots for him recoil from some of that spectacle, right? So it'll be really interesting to see whether once he actually takes office, there's any sense of having to limit himself, having to sort of more occupy a traditional role of the presidency. So far, we certainly haven't seen it. But this is a guy who goes into office as the most unpopular incoming president we've ever had, and the need to sort of change perceptions as opposed to just reinforce them is really imperative.
And look, the arena wasn't full, and there could be reasons for that. It could be because there was bad traffic there. It could be, for a variety of things, but it wasn't full. It's different when after an election. It's harder to fill an arena. It's different when you're president. It's harder
How
to fill
many
an arena.
people were there? I mean, because, they bristle at us saying that their crowds weren't huge.
There were empty seats. I mean, there were many thousands of people there, but it wasn't a full arena. And part of the reason was there was traffic, which has to do with the Secret Service and the fact that he's now the president-elect. A lot of, Jason, what's going to happen is when you're president, you need deliverables. You need to prove things to people. And he has a deliverable already, which is this carrier deal. Now, people say it may be a good deal, may not be a good deal, but there are 1,000 people who have jobs who wouldn't have had them otherwise. He's got that. How much more does he need to deliver? And exactly for whom? Is it his base or is it everyone?
So, John, this is the scariest part. It doesn't matter. Because we've seen this already with Donald Trump. He wasn't lying earlier this year when he said, I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, you guys will still support me. He sat up there. He has already said, I'm not going to pursue charges against Hillary Clinton. He said, I'm not really going to do the wall. He's already said to one group of people, I'm going to keep some parts of Obamacare. I won't. It doesn't matter. The people who support him are going to like him pretty much regardless of what he does. So what concerns me as an American citizen is, look, hey, if he gets this infrastructure plan done, that's great. But overall, I have this feeling, and we have seen it in a practical way, he will say one thing in front of one group of people, one thing in front of another group of people, and he's hardly ever held accountable.
So that came up, not just in Cincinnati, but at Harvard over the last 2 days, where every 4 years this was a remarkable meeting where both campaign staffs, all these campaign people get together and they have this, what's supposed to be very cordial meeting where everyone talks about what went right, what went wrong during the election. Well, it wasn't cordial this time, and you had the campaign staff still going after each other in a very, very bitter way. And I want to play an exchange to you. And the voices you're going to hear are those of Jennifer Palmieri, who worked for Hillary Clinton, really ran the communications operation, and Kellyanne Conway, Donald Trump's final campaign manager. Listen to this.
If providing a platform for white supremacists makes me a brilliant tactician, I am glad to have lost. I would rather lose than win the way you guys did.
Do you think I ran a campaign where white supremacists had a platform? You going to look me in the face and tell me that?
It did. Kellyanne
really?
did.
And that's how you lost?
It did.
Do you think you could have just had a decent message for the white working class voters?
Dana Bash?
Well, that went well. You know, I mean, you're right. Look, this is, we know these people. We've known them, you know, covering this campaign and also working on other campaigns. And this was obviously one of the most, if not the most, raw, intense experiences for them. But you're right. This is usually the forum where everybody can take a breath. The side that lost generally talks about the things that they realize that they did wrong. The side that won generally doesn't dance in the end zone, and neither of those things happened.
Well, but if you think that white supremacists were given a platform, you're not going to get over that. Time's not going to heal that feeling. If Jennifer Palmieri believes that, that's not just going to go away.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Alisyn. She doesn't just believe it, it's true. It's true. That is what Breitbart is. I've been in Breitbart. It is a home and a place for white nationalists and white supremacists.
So not just nationalists,
yes,
as Steve Bannon says.
Exactly.
White
not just
nationalists.
White nationalists. And here's what's key about this, and here's why I was concerned about putting Steve Bannon in there. More Americans domestically have been killed by white nationalists and white supremacists since 9/11 than jihadis. Okay, these are terrorists. They have been given a home on the website of the senior advisor of the President of the United States. That is a legitimate concern for people to have. Now, look, Hillary Clinton lost. Donald Trump is president.
They'll say Bannon himself, there's no white supremacist comments attributed directly to Bannon himself. I'm just saying we got to get that out there. And Kellyanne Conway also made the point that, you know, that may miss the larger message that Donald Trump had to a large swath of white voters. We're going to get a chance to talk about that coming up.
Panel, thank you very much for all of your thoughts. We'll continue to talk about this. Coming up on